Hello and welcome to the podcast that explores the inner workings of the Heartlands entertainment industries. I'm Brian.
I'm Kelly.
And so much show today. So much show.
There's a lot of show.
We got a lot of show. A boatload of show.
How many shows can we show them today?
I think at least like 3.
3 shows in one.
Combined. That's a lot of show. Oh, the Okie show.
Wait,
cubed of the cubed.
That's right.
Showception. Today, weirdest intro ever. So today we are going to be talking about directing movies. This is a topic that I've been not quite reluctant to get to, but like I've been holding off because like I feel like every entertainment behind the scenes thing focuses on directing, and I wanted to get a couple other topics out of the way before we really hit this one hard. But this is a big one. So everybody, please welcome to the show. We have a multi-award winning director of the 48-hour film race in Oklahoma City, Patrick Kirk. Yeah, imagine that there's like an audience here.
It's awkward.
We have the winner of the Best Oklahoma Film of Dead Center 2016 for Electric Nostalgia, Mr. Jacob Burns. Yep. And we have the one of the directors of the Skit Guys, one of the basically the owners and minds behind Behold Motion Pictures, and also winner of the least likely to attend his 10-year high school reunion, Brian Cates.
Great job on that one. That last one.
I won that
really
one.
Well done.
Well done. So today we are talking about directing movies, directing short films, directing TV and commercials, just directing everything. So you guys are some pretty good minds for us to tap into. So I'm excited to have you guys. It's weird having you all on for the first time ever. Y'all have never been on the show before.
None of them.
Wrong.
What show is this?
You've been a guest co-host, Patrick, on the show.
That counts, I guess.
But you've never actually been on as a guest, so welcome for the first time.
Do I get a gift bag this time?
I actually have a sticker for you.
Okay.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Fancy.
Whoa.
Is it the same sticker that I already have?
Probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a really good sticker, though.
It is a great sticker, dang it.
Quality.
So we're going to be talking about directing, but before we get started with the directing, like really getting into the meat of it, I thought we would play a fun game.
Pass.
As all of you know. So the Disaster Artist came out this last Thursday. It's weird. Is it weird that the midnight showing is no longer the midnight showing? It's just the Thursday showing.
At like 8 o'clock or something.
Yeah. It's just, why don't we just... Like, it's just
We're
going to be keep
older.
going farther and farther
We can't do those midnight
back.
shows anymore. So they're like, oh yeah, that generation's they're a little old.
Yeah.
They don't like the midnight. Let's do 8.
think
Eight's a good time.
I think they started off of like, you know what? Here's a nice hack of making more money
Yeah.
during the weekend.
Just push it a day before.
We'll add more midnight screenings.
Yeah.
It's the 7 o'clock midnight screening. So the Disaster Artist is out, and which is kind of funny because this episode's probably going to come out like a couple months from now. So this will totally still be relevant. But I thought this would be fun of a game of, was it Stanley Kubrick or was it Tommy Wiseau?
This has me excited.
Stanley Kubrick, of course, is the notorious director of 2001 Space Odyssey, The Shining, Full Metal Jacket,
Clockwork
Orange. What else has he done?
A lot of things, I think.
I have a personal vendetta against Stanley Kubrick because of what we're going to be getting into.
Interesting.
And then Tommy Wiseau, of course, is the notorious director of The Room, which is also known as the greatest, worst movie of all time. So here we go. So basically, I'm going to ask you a series of questions, and you'll have to tell me, was it Tommy or was it Stanley? Okay, so...
Are we taking turns?
We're just shouting it out.
Just shout them out. Just shout them out.
Consensus?
Okay, so...
I feel like Jacob's going to sniff out the Stanley Kubrick ones pretty.
Okay, so first question is, this person had all of the outtakes and deleted scenes of his film destroyed so that no one could re-edit his movie. Was it Stanley Kubrick or was it Tommy Wiseau?
I'm going to go with Tommy Wiseau. Because I think it would just be too hard, like movie after movie after movie, for Kubrick to be able to do that.
I would agree because it feels like a more modern YouTube era thing that would happen. So the re-editing of a film.
I don't want anyone to see how bad.
But, Kubrick could have been just really paranoid that people were going to get his hands on the 35 and just re-edit
Yeah.
it and do things after he died.
Yeah.
So we got 2 for Tommy.
Yeah, I'm going to say
We'll say Tommy. Sure.
Okay. It was Stanley Kubrick.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Crazy.
And he did that with all of his movies.
All of his movies, he did
Every
that?
single one of his movies, he destroyed all he destroyed thousands of cans of film of all the outtakes and all the deleted scenes.
I wasn't just wrong. I was like CNN level.
Oh, dang.
Wow.
Okay, so question 2. He took so long obsessing over the proper response to a fan letter that the fan actually died before he got his response. Was it Stanley Kubrick or was it Tommy Wiseau?
I'm gonna go last so as to not influence anyone.
I'm going to say that's Stanley Kubrick.
Stanley Kubrick?
Yeah.
Yeah, Kubrick.
That sounds Kubrickian.
It was Stanley Kubrick. Yeah, apparently he just like kept writing. It was a director who wrote a fan letter to him, and he was also a fan of this director, and he was like, I've got to get the perfect response. And the guy died before he finally... Okay, so question 3. He refused to pay for air conditioning and water during a summer shoot, which led to one of his elderly actors going to the hospital from heat stroke. Was it Tommy Wiseau or was it Stanley Kubrick?
I'm going to say that's Tommy
I was gonna
Wiseau
say
because I don't
Wiseau.
think Kubrick would have been in charge of his budget like that.
Yeah, I was going to say Wiseau.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah.
Okay, it was Tommy Wiseau. It was definitely Tommy Wiseau. That was
So did this happen on The Room?
totally happened on
Okay, I
the
was
road. Yeah.
saying, which,
In the dead
was
of
it the
summer
older
in
lady?
LA.
I was like, which person was
Refused
that?
to
I want to
buy
know what happened
Yeah.
to her.
Yeah.
For anyone who's seen The Disaster Artist, they knew the answer to that question. Okay, let's see here. I'm just gonna do one more. Or I might go. Okay, I'll do 2 more. All right. So this person had a private bathroom built for himself just a few feet away from the set, and this bathroom was complete with a toilet, a sink, and a curtain rather than a door. Was it Tommy
Why?
Wiseau or was it Stanley Kubrick?
I'm gonna have to go with Wiseau.
Yeah, I was
again.
going to say Tommy. Yeah.
Yeah,
Kubrick being
sure.
the ultimate control freak has to have a
He
door
has
on
to have a
his-
door,
I
right?
think he would have had someone drive him to a bathroom
It was Tommy Wiseau for sure.
far away.
Like, yeah,
Right
I
there?
must be able to hear everything that's going on, and in turn, they must hear everything that's happening in here.
Getting lots of good tips for my next set.
Okay, last question. This director is notorious for doing countless takes up to the hundreds and going far over schedule to the weeks and or months.
That would be
That
Kubrick.
That would be actually, I'm gonna go with
Stanley
both here.
Yeah.
Both.
I know. Well, yeah.
We've got
I know
a both.
Kubrick did
We got a Kubrick.
hundreds
We
of
know
takes.
Kubrick
but,
did. I don't know
but
anything
also know
about-
Wiseau
It was
did hundreds.
definitely both.
Nice.
That was
Say, like-
my trick question of the day.
Good job.
I win.
I win.
I have I don't know why, but I cannot enjoy Stanley Kubrick's movies. If I was to maybe just like mute it and look at the cinematography, I could probably like get super into it. Because like the guy's an amazing visionary, but God, like all the stories of behind the scenes. There was one question that I didn't ask in here. Stanley Kubrick actually like refused to let one of his lead actors from Full Metal Jacket leave the set to be with his wife who was having a baby via C-section. She was getting cut open. And he was like, "No, you can't leave." And so the actor literally had to threaten to cut himself to be able to get off the set and go to be with his wife
Aw.
for
That's
the
not great.
birth of their child.
Whoa.
What an artist that Stanley Kubrick is.
That just sounds like a great father, though.
I know. I was like, what a good dad.
He
hear a
passed
lot
the
of
dad
stuff.
test.
Yeah. You hear a lot of stories of dads
That is
just
a
working so
devoted
much
husband.
that they missed
Yeah.
the birth of
He
their
was
kid.
like, no,
and
I'll
they're-
kill myself first.
They probably regret it, but they're
No.
fine with it, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then he only needed to use like the "I'm a great dad" guilt thing one time. Oh
yeah.
I almost mutilated myself.
Yeah.
For you.
Yeah.
In front of Stanley Kubrick.
Yeah. Why would you do this, son? Don't you
The,
understand?
the next question is,
Based
did
on
he ever
Stanley
work again? Did
Well,
he
yeah,
ever
that's
work
true.
again? Because probably not.
Man.
Yeah, it'd be nice to know who that actor was.
Yeah.
Who was it? It was like the lead actor for Full Metal Jacket, and I honestly don't recognize the name.
So maybe
Then
he
again,
didn't work
I'm not
again.
exactly a film historian. So, okay, so we are talking about directing. So
Then what am I here for?
First off, real quick, all of y'all, like basically in the most basic way, basically, Could you basically
Basically,
just
basic.
describe a director's duties on a film?
How do you describe it? I think a director is they're the ones, they are at the top of the mountain creatively. There's other things like producers and stuff like that. They're more on sort of like the business side, whatever, but like all creative decisions, the buck stops with the director. He has a lot of people under him that helps with all that, obviously. But the director is the one that kind of leads the ship from the creative standpoint, and then hires the crew and delegates to others to kind of bring forth this creative vision.
Nice.
The chief creative officer.
It's very Star Trek of
Or
you.
you can even say chief collaborative officer.
CCO.
Yeah.
Because, I think it's pretty accurate is that somebody's got to make the final decision on all the creative things, and that's the job of the director. In a more philosophical, I just hit the mic.
I'll edit it
He
out.
said, "Don't do that." In a more philosophical view, it's you're the one who's got to set the tone. Like you have to create. Your job is to create this safe space for everybody to go. Okay, here's an idea. Here's an idea. Here's an idea. Most of those ideas are going to get shot down because ultimately we can only go in one direction, one vision. But you basically have to come up with a vision and a tone and an environment that basically gets everybody onto the same page. We're making the same movie. We can't have cinematographer can't be making a noir film and you're trying to make a comedy. You can't have costumes in the 1930s and it's a sci-fi movie set on the moon. I mean, you've got to get everybody thinking in the same mode, not as robots, but as people on the same page who are going to have their own ideas, but inspired by that vision that you give them. So.
Yeah.
To me, it's that chief collaborator, basically, that gets everybody herded together into that same mindset that ultimately serves the movie and makes the movie the best it can be.
Nice. Brian, you got anything to add to that?
I agree with all that. I think aside from making the movie, probably one of the most important roles of the director is to set the tone for the company. People follow people that they love and respect, and I think every good director should be just that. I think they should be a really good leader, a really good tone setter, and able to work well with a lot of people from a lot of different places and all come together to make something really great. I feel like I talk a lot more about the experience of making the project than the project itself, and so that's something that that we always try to think about a lot. But I would say, at least for me, that's probably one of the more important roles or important tasks.
Well, and I will say that whenever we're working on a Skit Guys set, and whether you're directing or producing, really pretty much any kind of Skit Guys set that we're on. It's so much there's such a joy that's on those sets, and it's so drama free, and because we've been on some shoots under Skit Guys where my gosh, we had a guy who his wife had a medical emergency in the middle of it, and he had to leave, and then it was down to one of the producers who had to step into the directing chair to be able to finish the day, and everybody stepped up to their plate and really killed it. And
I'm pretty sure Jacob has done that on one of our sets.
Yeah.
So have you? Yeah. And we're probably talking about the same project because I had to be off the set.
We are.
And then Adam Carter was going to be directing, and then his family had a medical emergency. So both of the guys that usually direct are gone, and so Jacob's just over here, touching a camera.
Yeah.
Well, you were. I think you were DP on that.
Yeah,
I think
so
I was camera. Yeah, I pressed the red button.
Yeah, so he came in and saved the day for us.
Yeah.
And so that was the height of collaboration.
That's actually a really good lead into kind of the next question, which is like all the different types of shoots there are where you are the director, because like from what I've seen that there are 3 different kinds. There's the one man band where you're the director who's also running camera and you're also producing the whole darn thing and you're, running to get crafty and all, you're doing everything. And then there's the step up from that, which is like the skeleton crew where like you're still running camera as the director and like maybe you have a producer or something like, but then you have the third one, which is like the full size crew. Am I missing any? Or I feel like, are there any other ones? That's pretty much it. Like, what are y'all's experiences and just like advice, like based on those 3 types? Like, we'll start with the one man band. Like, how do you handle that? Like wearing so many different hats.
One man band operation is how I started. It's a great way to make a lot of mistakes, get really frustrated, and not do a good job. The great thing about being a one-man band is that, you have ultimate control, but then you're going to get blamed for everything as well if it doesn't work out. So, it's a great learning and proving ground, and a lot of people do it because they have no other option. I mean, I think probably. I feel
like that's how a lot of people.
I think
start
probably
out.
Every director probably starts out as a one man band at some point. It's a great way to just get your hands dirty. I mean, it really is the sandbox of directing. I mean that's the genesis of it.
You get to fail forward a lot.
Yeah.
And then in post, you're like, oh man, I should have gotten that shot, or I should have the actor do this, and then you start piecing those things together, and then as long as you're remembering that and being mindful of it the next time, then you get to make a whole new set of mistakes. But I still do quite a lot of it. But I think the key for anyone doing that, and it'll be hard for someone who's just starting out, but if you are in that directing spot, then you need to kind of come at it with confidence and just say, I'm making these decisions. You're going to have a lot of times, like with client work, I'll have the client rep from the marketing firm, and then I'll have the actual client on set. A lot of times, like doing like a car spot, and they've kind of got some ideas themselves, and you just kind of have to go, okay, we're doing this, because we need to do it this way, so it can connect in the edit. And you just kind of have to take charge of the situation, but again, do it in a polite, respectful way. But generally, if you start making those decisions and you do it with a little bit of confidence, people get in line pretty quick, and so you are then able to kind of concentrate on all the other stuff that you have to do. Because I know I need to set up a light. I know the camera's got to go there. I know I got to get these people mic'd. It can be like herding cats sometimes, but it's mad.
So I have a question about that. Is it okay if I ask a question?
Please do.
No. So looking back on my one man show days, inevitably I would forget something, 2 things, 20 things. You are literally jumping back and forth. Like, you get back in the editing room and like, oh, I didn't pull focus. This whole thing.
Oh, I didn't hit the red button.
This whole thing is out of focus. So have you developed any sort of systems or workflow to kind of check off a mental checklist in your mind of all the different duties that you're doing?
That's such a good question. I was thinking about that. Like, that's a lot of things.
First thing, I never step onto a one-man show without my shot list, because that just makes everything, it gives you a clear path forward, and then you got to really kind of push to stick to that.
And a shot list, for those of you listening, is a camera script. Go ahead. Describe it
for
more.
Those at home. You look at the script, and it's got, person A walks in, talks to person B goes, I'm out of here, and they leave, and that's the scene. So you have to figure out how to shoot that, and shot list is basically say, okay, well, we'll need a wide, so that we'll need to see person A walk in, and I hit another mic stand again.
Could you just stop hulking out on the stage?
Just stay in your tiny box, Patrick. Stay in your tiny box.
I'll do the Trump pose.
There you go.
But so you need to get the wide shot covering the person walking in, and then you might want to grab the wide of the person walking out. You're going to need a medium, kind of showing them closer together, and then you're probably going to need a close up and a close up. And if say like an important prop is used, you're going to need to get a cutaway of that. So you would go wide, medium, close up, insert, right? And so by having that already in place before you walk on, okay, that's one step taken care of, and now you're not having to worry about how the shots are going to cut together, or how or making sure that you get the shots that cut together.
So you have a map.
Yeah, you have a map.
Of,
you give yourself a little guide.
Yeah.
And that almost takes care of everything. And then you just kind of checklisting. Okay, camera's up, audio's up, and then kind of working on like I've got like my audio, my camera package, my audio recorder, it connects to the rails, and it's right there on the camera, so it's all right there in front of me, so there's no way I can miss rolling the audio, miss rolling the video.
Yeah, it becomes intuitive after you do it a lot. You don't think about like, oh, I need to remember to press record on these 7 different things or whatever, because that's part of muscle memory and stuff like that.
Yeah, and then you're constantly looking, like my eyes a lot of times aren't going to, what the action is happening. It's going to, is the record thing on? Is the red light on? Okay, yeah. And just kind of checking back and forth. But, and then simplifying. Not doing, like in my one-man band scenario, I'm not going to do a big complicated move with a focus pull. It just, that's don't
a good
do
word.
It. And because it's just never going to pull off the way you need it. And a lot of times, though, the other thing is you're on a commercial, you're doing a one-man band, it's a commercial. You've got 22 seconds. Most moves aren't going to work in that time period. And not going to so that's a pro tip on commercials. Don't do fancy complicated moves.
I feel like there's a time and a place to be Peter Jackson or something,
right? But you need at least that next level up crew, someone who's operating the camera and can do focus before you really can start thinking about those complicated moves. So if you keep it simple and you have that shot list going in, that takes care of most of it. And the rest is just practice and repetition, like Jacob said, of knowing, okay, and then sticking to tight rolls and tight cuts is another thing that really kind of helps.
I want to touch on something real quick for like, a student who's beginning film school and who's saying, I want to be a director. I feel like a lot of focus in film schools is like the technical stuff, but like then there's getting a job after you leave film school and you're just like spit into the ether of the world. Can y'all list off like all the different types of directing jobs that you can get? Because we have the one-man bander, but as a one-man band, what all can you do, like as a director?
I mean, that's basically going to be like local commercials. But then there's also, it kind of dovetails. So, you put up a website and you get yourself going out there. You'll also likely be almost like a camera op director. So I do a lot of like production support. Yeah. So an out-of-state producer has a corporate video gig that they need to do. They're not going to bring a director and their camera gear and lights from out of state. They're going to hire me locally, and I'm going to show up. And the producer's there kind of conducting client interview type stuff, but I'm basically doing everything else. Yeah. So that's another... So you got, your small commercials, you've got your local commercials, you've got those type of corporate things. And then if you really want to get out there, great thing to go do is go find some nonprofits, then see if they want to take a shot on someone making them a little video, and you make a little like nonprofit style documentary for them.
Oh, that's good. That's cool.
So you do like an About Us video, or you do, if they have like somebody that they recently helped, you do their little profile story, something like that.
And so, yes to all those things, but the big thing is that that he kind of touched on a little bit was, and then you can go somewhere and try and do something for these people. And so like right out of film school or something like that, there's not going to be all these job listings for, we need a director on
right.
You're never going to go in for an interview.
I was going to say, that's not like a listed in the classified
exactly
thing, unless it's probably not a job you want if it is.
Yeah.
Just saying.
I feel so, my dad, when I graduated college, my dad, bless his heart, and if he's listening, I love you, Dad, and thank you for doing this, but he got me a suit for all the interviews that I was going to do for, getting a job in film.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And I still have it. I still have the suits, and I wear it from time to time. But I've never worn it to an interview.
Yeah. So like right out of film school, what you're going to be doing is, if you want to direct, then you just need to start directing things, and those will have to come from you. Whether you're making short films and like,
And you're going to make millions.
or yeah, exactly, spec
Right,
commercials or whatever, and then you're trying to build up a reel and stuff like that, or just like a portfolio of stuff that you can show somebody, and then hopefully eventually the right people see it, basically. And it's about putting yourself out there. You have to start thinking of yourself as a brand, really. And it's really about selling yourself to people.
So if you can buy your name as a website, do it.
Totally.
Yo.
Patrick Kirk, dentist in
that's a good
Cincinnati, does
idea
not
to just
like
like
me.
right out of school,
Yeah.
go ahead and buy yourself a domain name that's yours. And
No, actually, yes.
I'm asking. Yeah, so that's a good idea.
No, I'm being serious there. Yeah, it's a joke. I think that he forgot to renew it, and it came up, and I grabbed it, and I've been offered many thousands of dollars to. But I'm like, I kind of sort of need that. But yeah, like you said, like going into you are a brand.
Yeah,
Yes,
so-
you need put up a website, get a Vimeo page. And get everything posted there, and get your stuff from the Vimeo page onto. And a Vimeo page might do it, like as long as that's a link. You can change
Something easily
you can
to
actually change
send,
the URL on the end of the Vimeo page to be your name or
Nice.
your username. But if you can get a website that's you, even better. And then just start posting stuff to it.
That reminds me, Kelly, I've been meaning to tell you, you need to buy the domain name bensonhcook.com.
I will, Benson.
Screw you, Benson H.
I
Cook.
see you on Instagram, and I think your pictures are delightful.
We're watching.
Your adventures in
Watching
Canada
you.
make me jealous, and I'm going to buy your name on the line, and then I'm going to make my own website.
We're going to steal your identity.
Yeah.
He stole our identity.
For a short time,
The show has turned into a series of threats.
which is sad because it's to a Canadian, and they're the nicest.
He's the nicest Canadian ever. So, okay, real quick, I want to touch on what do you think makes a successful director? Like, not what makes a great director, what makes the Spielberg, or what makes the Kubrick? Like, what makes a successful director? Somebody that has a career in directing.
Winning trophies.
Perfect.
Win
trophies. All the trophies. And where do you put those trophies?
Hardware's how you keep score.
In your mom's house.
Up your butt.
So there's actually a certain level of truth to that. You should, if you're going to make something, you should have other people look at it. A great way to do that is to submit it to festivals. And that is where you meet people.
Yes.
That is where you meet people who are not in your town, and they may remember you, they may not remember you. They'll probably remember your work,
Yeah.
especially if it's good.
Well, and even if you don't win anything at those festivals, keep those laurels and put them up on your website because being accepted to a film festival is step one.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
There's also a boost just from because a lot of times we're talking about one-man director, and especially starting out, you will be on an island. And you'll feel like the only person in the world doing what you're doing, and going to a festival and networking and getting with other filmmakers suddenly makes I'm not alone. I'm not I'm not just off in the ether by myself here. There's other people trying to do what I'm doing, and you will get a boost just from being around because you'll be inspired by their work, and you'll see they're doing it, they're making it, I can too.
Every director out there knows what it's like to be Noah building the ark.
Yeah.
Because you just don't have the boat. You have to build it, right? And until it's built and until the flood comes, no one's gonna follow you until everything falls into place and you've created the situation where it's time to work and this idea is really great. We doubted you forever. We blamed you. We thought your vision.
Save us!
We thought your vision was crazy. We didn't get. Guy walks into X and leaves with Y. We didn't get it, but now it's wet outside, and we'd really like to be a part of your project. Yeah, every director knows what it's like to be that. So it's not going to fall out of the sky for you. You have to make the boat.
And I'd also like to say, even if directing is your ultimate goal, kind of look at the other fields as well, like whether it's camera or editing or production designer, it doesn't matter. And try to get work as that in the industry as well.
Yeah.
That's where I've met most people that end up on, my sets. I probably met them on some other set where I was a camera op or an AC or a DP or whatever.
I feel like that goes into networking too. Like networking is so crucial to anything in this
absolutely.
particular industry.
Yeah.
Like, And also, like, Jacob, why don't you touch on the importance of, like, whenever you're working those below the line jobs, when you're not a director or writer for the listeners, like, you're called below the line, you know, the importance of taking those jobs for learning experience.
Yeah, for sure. So, like, I started right out of film school. I wasn't directing feature films. I direct short films on the side, but then I got work as, like, a camera PA or a camera intern, whatever I could get on whatever feature or whatever was going on. I just try and get on the set somehow. And so, yeah, like, the number one thing is just, like, networking and meeting people. And then number two, just take in the surroundings and just be very mindful of how the sets are running, why they're running that way. And like you said, like, take notice of the director and, like, the mood that he's setting for the whole set. And whether it's working or not. Like, there's some sets are, you know, we all know some sets are miserable, some sets are a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And so what's good about just working on a lot of sets is, like, finding out, like, okay, why was that one miserable? Why did no one enjoy working on that one? Why was this one so much fun?
Yeah.
So just really kind of take in and then just see, like, and then just look at the different people, like, who's a lot of fun to work with, whose personality did I work well with, and then, you know, become friends with them. And then, that's the main thing. Just, like, trying to soak it all in. You can learn the technical stuff as well. Obviously, like, just being on set, you're going to learn more about the craft, but it's also very illuminating for how things are run and why they're run the way they're run.
Yeah.
And so to go further with that, as experienced directors, are there things that you have found that kind of consistently work to set a good tone on your sets now? Like, are there tricks and things that you kind of apply to most films or things you're going to be doing to set that basic attitude and atmosphere?
Yeah,
Everyone gets winning lottery tickets.
No, like, are there any tricks and tips that you could give? Because I remember
craft service.
being on, like,
great food.
great food. Well, food's always good. Yeah,
Joking, but not
food
joking.
is always good. Like, I remember
yeah.
just, like, I had several different directors in theater that, you know, they wanted to give a feel for this play that we were doing, right? So if one was a very dark play, they would they'd get us in these dark moments, but try to bring us out and be positive outside of acting, so we wouldn't always be so depressed and down, you know, because, like, that can spill over into your regular
absolutely.
life. So are there things that you've learned to kind of insert into at the beginning of your filming that you do that with?
I think, like, overall, like, as a director, like, just being super grateful for everybody being there and putting time into this thing, because the directors have a lot of what's the word, everybody looks to them, like, they're the leaders of the ship, and then there's a lot of, like, clout kind of put behind directors and their vision and all that, and so, like, why are these people here to help you make this thing, to help you make this story that spoke to you in some way? Why are all these people here? Part of it is money, obviously, but if you want them to truly collaborate and help you make it better than what you ever imagined, they need to want to be there every day.
Yeah.
And so, like, for me, that's one of the number one things, is just, like, constantly being grateful for everybody and just making sure that, like, filmmaking is stressful, period. That's just part of it. But doing your best as a director, as a leader on the set, to not let that stress that you're feeling infect the rest of the crew, because it's not, you know, the AC's fault that the scheduling thing has gone wrong or something like that, or, you know, there's a myriad of problems that could come up, and most of the time it's not the crew's fault.
Right.
And so just doing your best to be grateful and not let that stress kind of seep in and infect the rest of the crew.
And have excellent crafty.
Exactly.
Yeah, and on like, a specific piece of advice on not letting the stress shine through is make sure that when you are having that stress moment and things are changing so fast, like on the 48 we did this year, that was the most dynamic shoot we've had. And 2 or 3 times as things were changing, I was like, I need to step away from the set for a second and reorganize my notes and do it off to the side and not think out loud in front of everybody, because that's what gets people, that'll really
Makes
rile
them
up.
nervous.
Because then they'll start.
That's a good, that's a good.
And if you don't have clarity of mind with your crew, and then you step back on and go, hey, here's the plan.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, oh, okay, yeah, cool.
It's nothing worse than a director who's like, what do I do?
Yeah, I
Who's
think
acting a
it's a-
PA how he feels about how the shot is.
Those are like the two extremes are like having literally no idea what you're doing. You're voicing that to everyone on set and they're feeling really positive now. Or being overly intensely bossy because you are trying to enforce your power, like to come back with a clean, like, I have a plan.
Pronounce the H
like,
right.
Yeah. I have a plan. Let's implement the plan. That's a good note. I think.
But beyond stress, make sure it is a job and we're supposed to be getting paid, and like on a commercial, you're like supposed to be getting, there's some high stakes involved with that. But have fun. Nobody is on that set because they backed into it as a career and they weren't really sure what they wanted to do. It's not like there's a lot of careers people like back into and they do for 20, 30 years and they're miserable at it. No one does that in film. Mm-hmm. No one has ever been on a set because, I guess
I went to school to be a plumber
and then poof, I'm a PA.
Everyone wants to be there. So use that to your advantage and make it, okay, we want to be here. This is what we want to be doing. It's like there was a scene from The Rookie, a movie about baseball. He was a 38-year-old high school teacher.
Dennis Quaid,
I love, that's right. Yeah.
And he ends up making a major league team at like 38, and he's going through the minor leagues, and he's doubting himself, and he makes the call home, and they're like, "We're so proud of you," and it keeps him going. And then the thing he says the next morning when he shows up in the locker room is, "Hey guys, guess what we get to do today? We get to play baseball."
Yeah.
And that's the attitude I think you got to come into as a director on set. It's like, hey guys, we're making a movie today. How cool is that?
How awesome is that?
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
And I think you start off on that foot and everyone else falls in line just like that because, it's freaking cool.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's, and it's kind of funny because, like, since when you're running sound on, like, every type of different shoot and everything, like, the novelty can wear off, sadly.
Well,
it
that's
can
because
feel
you're a
like
sound guy.
It's just the classic sound guy. I just work my pole all day long. And what thanks do I get? But like every once in a while, my favorite is whenever there's like somebody like an extra or like a PA who's never PA'd before, something like that, and that starry-eyed look they get in their eyes like, oh my God, we're making a movie. Ooh. They all sound like that. And it's like, yeah, we are making a movie. It's a good movie. Oh, thanks, babe. You guys want some waters?
Sure, thank you.
Pass them around.
They're complimentary waters, guys.
All right.
Free water from the tap.
Spared no expense.
I'm good. Thank you.
So next, the next thing I want to touch on is like basically there are two types of directors. There are the writer-directors, which Jacob, you are definitely one of those. And then there's the kind of the hired gun director, which you all have been. So like, let's talk about the difference between the two, like the ways that you would approach being a writer-director versus like, all the for every M. Night Shyamalan, there's, the typical working director. So can we kind of touch on that a little bit?
So for
everyone just touch Jacob for a second, make him feel awkward.
Yeah. So obviously, I mean, the basic difference for listeners between a writer-director and a director for hire is obviously it's kind of in the name. The writer-director has written the script and has now probably been at it from the very beginning, whereas a director for hire, there was probably a script that was written by a writer, and then they found some producers, and then the producers found the director. There's kind of more of a process there. But I guess it just comes down to like, ultimately, like the job is the same. Like as a director, you need to find something in the story that speaks to you, and like you need to find that vision for what this movie is.
Yeah.
And so, writer directors, a lot of times their scripts are going to be a lot different than a script that was written for a director for hire. Because a lot of times, like when I write my scripts, a lot of times they're not really written for like me to like impress someone else with it. Like it's more of like, it's almost like a note to myself on set. Like, remember to do this thing.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Wink.
exactly, yeah. And so like that vision kind of starts much, much earlier in the process. And then I'm a huge part of it, but that doesn't mean you can't find something in a script that's already been written, because that's probably why you signed on to do it or whatever. And then, so yeah, you just kind of have to find what's in there. And then from there, it's planning the movie just as you would as a writer director. You might have to collaborate more with the writer or something like that. But ultimately you're still at the top of the peak, creative decision. And so you just got to find what you want to say with the story and then move from there.
And probably the biggest difference between the two is at what point does your objectivity end, right? Because if you start as the writer, you have a very firm vision from the very beginning. When you come on as a director, for hire, you're seeing hopefully something that's been rewritten many times. You can jump in at that point and that's when your objectivity begins. And it ends, a few minutes later. But that's the best part about filmmaking, is that you can help maintain your objectivity through collaboration. Yeah. And so, I think someone out there, if you're listening and you've written something and you want to direct it, hold very, very loosely to your ideas and surround yourself with people who are very, very good at what they do. And your vision will be so much better than it ever was with you by yourself, alone in your room, in your underwear.
Because that's how everyone writes their scripts. Am I right?
That's how I do. That's typically how I do my podcast. But I decided not to.
Had to be a camera rolling.
News anchors don't wear pants.
Everyone knows that.
So I feel like to be successful in today's market, because I feel like and correct me if I'm wrong, but do you think that a Stanley Kubrick, if he was just starting off as the Stanley Kubrick he was, could be successful in today's market? Because I don't feel like that could happen, but I could be wrong.
Well, sooner than later, American filmgoers are going to be hungry for it, because all we're being fed are franchises right now.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
Sure.
So, I mean,
Well, I'm not talking like so much on a storytelling standpoint. I'm talking like on the technical, like creating the movie, how he goes way over budget. Basically, I'm touching on like the importance of staying on budget and on schedule.
Oh,
Well, I mean, I think Kubrick is like an exception, because he was a director for hire at first. Like, he directed Spartacus and stuff like that. And so it wasn't till he had like gained that success that he was able to start doing that stuff. And then his movies made money. So he was given that leeway. Most directors, for instance, myself, would not be able to get away with that. So it's kind of, you have to like prove yourself, prove that it's worth all that extra junk.
Yeah.
For someone like that to continue to get hired. So yeah, I definitely think someone like Kubrick would make it today, because he'd be an indie director. And then, because like really there's a lot of great independent cinema right now. And so if he proved himself and had producers that believed him and his movies made money, then yeah.
There lies the trick, is the movies making
It's the money. Can get away with murder.
Yeah.
But like for the typical non-Stanley Kubrick, like let's talk about the importance of staying on schedule and on budget.
that's not the director's problem. Someone else gets paid to do
Usually it doesn't say if you got a crew and you've delegated that, right?
Yeah.
You've delegated that out.
That's bad cop's job.
But if you are the director, I constantly have to change my shot list so that we can all succeed, right? So I shoot something completely different than what I set out to almost every time I jump on set, because we're not going to make our day if I don't change. We might, but it's much easier to just be creative and figure out how to make some adjustments really quick.
Yeah. How much do you guys ask?
That's actually the fun part for me.
It's so much fun.
Okay, how can we recombine those three shots that I wanted to do into one?
Yeah.
And how many times are you more proud of what you did?
Every time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, and like I know whenever Patrick and I are working together, that there's nothing that we hate more than going into overtime, quote unquote, or like I hate whenever you and I are shooting something. I hate going over 10 hours. Like, in a 12-hour day is pretty typical. For us, it's like if we go over 10 hours, we're like, whoa, what are we doing wrong?
I think we've done it once.
We've only gone over time once, I think.
I think we've only gone once.
Because we despise it that much. But...
And still, that moment has stuck with you this long.
I know. The one time we went into overtime.
To the point where now you talk about it as though it's happened many times. It was that bad.
How much do you guys, like, as directors, because, like, I think that is a good point that you bring up that's not necessarily the director's job, but how much do you guys worry about the finances? As a director, how much do you worry about the money that's being spent every day? Because typically, if we're talking like a full budget film that's being shot, I think it's safe to say you're spending at least $10,000 a day. So how much do you guys care about that? And that's if you're $10,000. We're talking like full scale movie.
I was going to say on nostalgia, I was very worried about it
because that was the whole budget.
I mean, it's one of those things like you just have to balance it with everything, and then a lot of it is just planning ahead of time and planning as much as you can. You'll never be as prepared as you want to be, but plan a lot. So then when you're on set and like these guys are talking about how like things change almost immediately, if you have a really strong plan and know the things that you need, changing really isn't that hard because you know what you still need to get, even if the shots aren't exactly the same that you thought. And so I think, as far as like money and schedule and stuff like that, you do have to constantly think about it. You have someone else there on set who's really concerned with it.
The first AD, and which we're going to touch on.
That's really important, is having a first AD whose like personality works well with yours and stuff like that, because then they can prod you to go faster. Whichever, we all have our different motivations, things that motivate us. And so having an AD that understands that, and is also understandable of like the creative side, because if you go too fast, or if you or just trying to cram too much into a short amount of time, then you're going to start losing stuff, and that's when the quality is going to start going down. But you can't spend weeks and weeks shooting, an eighth of a page or something,
right?
And so you just kind of have to, you got to find that balance. A lot of it is just like having the collaborators you need around you, but also planning a lot ahead of time, but also being like malleable to what is actually happening in front of you.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on like the importance between the relationship between the first AD? Well, okay, first of all, to kind of back it up for the listeners, describe what the difference is between a director and a first assistant director. What does the director not do that the first AD does do?
It's really a lot like the relationship between a golfer and his caddy. I mean, you are the consigliere. Is that how you say
Bless
it?
you.
Consigliere. Consigliere. To the Don. And so a great first AD is going to be able to tell you what you're doing wrong, right? Hey, we don't want to cross the line. Guy entered the frame in this shot. He should be in the frame in your second shot, et cetera, et cetera. They need to know how the frame works and how the shots work. But ultimately, they're in charge of a lot more than that. And I'll let you guys... because I don't know what they do.
Yeah.
Right.
I've never been one.
Scheduling is their big thing. So they're in charge of you work with your AD ahead of time, and your other collaborators like your DP or whatever, to figure out generally like, okay, we need to shoot 5 pages of script on this day. Here's the scenes we have in this location. Like, so they're the ones that like kind of balance all that. Like, here's the locations, here's when they're available, here's how much we need to shoot there, here's our time to shoot there, and then breaks that down by, down to, half-hour increments, or even down to 5-minute increments or whatever, just to make sure that we're all on schedule. So they know, okay, on noon on Tuesday, we need to be halfway through shooting this scene so we can shoot something 3 days later in this other location or something like that. So they have to like balance.
I still have no idea how
all
they
that.
pull that off.
That's why I don't do it. And so their job with the director is to, and the crew, is to make sure everybody just keeps moving. That's their really number one thing. Is just like keep everybody moving.
Yeah.
Make the
on
day
time.
is the phrase.
The first AD
Exactly,
is the guy in Ben-Hur in the galley hitting the drums. Ramming
that's
speed.
Make
That's
it
a
just
really
go,
good
go, yeah.
description.
That's really what they do,
Yeah.
and the director is the commander of the ship, and there is kind of a big line. So like a first assistant director, almost never does anything creatively, but they're also there's also good utility with a first AD in they shield the director. Because we talk about creating that collaborative atmosphere where everyone's coming up with ideas. That's great, except if everyone's coming up to the director individually and say, "What about this? What about this? What about this?" Especially like when you might be thinking about, okay, I need to get this shot and what the next shot's going to be, and then somebody's going to come up to you and talk about a lighting cue or a prop or a wardrobe thing, and that can break your concentration. So the first AD kind of filters things out and kind of keeps your headspace clean. And then once you've made a decision, and then now you're free to then discuss what the next collaborator wants to talk with you about. So
that way you're not someone's not coming up to you like the actor won't come out of the bathroom. Like that's not your problem. The first AD can kind of cut that off.
Exactly.
And be like, no, let's not go to the director with that. We'll handle the actor that is being difficult or something like that. Okay.
That actually that's a perfect segue to the next question, which is like sometimes to pull out a performance from an actor. How do you deal with pulling a performance from an actor who is being difficult, who's being kind of a diva? Have you all ever had that experience?
You have to go into the bathroom with them.
Now listen.
you just join them. Hopefully there's like a tandem toilet and you just kind of commiserate together.
You just hold their hand and you get through the scene.
You give them little pats of encouragement and or a mighty shove.
I'm trying to think because like the only time that I ever saw a diva actor on set where the director had to get directly involved was on Teata with Koryanka Kilcher, and she had locked herself in her trailer, and we didn't roll well past lunch because she wouldn't leave her trailer. And I have no idea what magic sauce the director, because the director did get involved. Like he was like, "This is BS. We need to get in there." And like I can't remember I don't know what he did. He might have smacked her around. I don't know. But what would you have done?
Left a trail of tacos between the trailer. No. I can't speak to like having like a true like diva moment deal, but I mean I've had some actors who just wouldn't act.
They're not giving you what.
And to that end, the key there is just patience.
Yeah,
absolute eternal patience, and then you start kind of keeping track of performances per take, and you really try to, you push them in one direction and the other, and sometimes you have to be like really, really extreme with it. And it's like, okay, go big, wild, crazy, and they up maybe one level.
Yeah.
Okay, but then that gives you the first part of that take was better, and then they slip back in, and then you have to go, okay, well, give me really, really subdued, and then go big, crazy at the end, and you really kind of have to guide them through. The thing you can never really do is, make them into a puppet and give them line reads. Say it just like this.
Well, yeah, because actors are sensitive. So that's
a good.
And I'd say there are a few actors that probably would want that. But I don't think that those are always the best actors. Like I know people who want to be told what exactly you're looking for, but that's kind of a rare.
I mean, I think that's part of being a director, though, is finding out, because like every set, like every actor has their own method or whatever. So, some are method acting, some are Meisner, some are something in between. Some are, some don't really have. They just kind of go up there and say lines. And so like part of being a director is like finding, okay, what each person, you can't treat them all the same.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And so kind of finding each kind of what their distinct style is and what gets them to come out. Sometimes it is like just being very blunt, like I need you to walk from here to here. I need you to stop exactly right here. Yeah. And then others you can be more vague, like, oh, you've just walked out of, the bathroom and, like whatever, like just really vague.
Extremely relieved.
Exactly. Yeah.
You're just thunderstorm very relieved. Yeah. In Vegas.
Gotcha. And then they get it. And so you just got to find what works for them. Like, I think I try to avoid like line readings, but sometimes if that gets the performance,
Sometimes you have
to.
Yeah.
Why not?
Sure. And I'll preface it. I was like, hey, I need it for the joke to work. Like,
Yeah.
And it's mainly been on commercials, but for the joke to work, I need it in this tone,
way.
in this style.
That's
because
Sometimes
we
rhythm
have-
is important.
I feel like
Yeah.
comedy, you're probably going to see more line reads. Would you agree with that?
If they don't get the beat, like if they don't understand,
don't get the beat, yeah.
if
Yeah.
they don't understand how the beat works, then sometimes you have to mimic the
Absolutely.
beat.
Yeah.
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 Because that's the one genre that it's like timing and beats and all that kind of stuff is
Yeah.
so freaking
Yeah.
important. Last question for you. Maybe not the actual last question, but like this is an important one. How do you please everyone?
That's very personal.
What is your key to pleasure?
I don't think I ever set out to please anyone. And I'm probably lucky that's probably my default. I would much rather the world serve me. I think the world would be a much better place.
Here's my plate of chicken nuggets.
Yes. Because I mean, if you set out to please everyone, I just don't think that's a great way to live, no matter what you're doing.
It's a very stressful way to live.
Maybe if you're a butler, but
How may I serve you, Master Wayne?
yeah, I think it goes back to being grateful. If that's your primary motivation and what you're feeling when you're on set, it doesn't really change from the moment you first get on and you're working free or you're working for gas money or whatever. You have to be really good at what you do, and you have to have a great attitude. Once you're a director, the same two rules apply. There's just a lot more consequences if you're not. So, yeah, I mean, I think just having a great attitude as a director is probably the best thing you can do for everyone.
Yeah.
I'm going to drop a K-Law. You remember the K-Laws?
Oh yeah.
K-Law, Jake and I went to film school together, and our mentor teacher, Fritz Kirsch at Oklahoma City University, he would have sayings, and we'd call them K-Law, Kirsch laws.
Nice.
But everyone serves the movie. So there is no pleasing everybody else. It's everyone is serving and essentially trying to please the movie. And that is what, and if you as the director take that mindset on, everyone follows suit. And so you don't have to worry about pleasing them. They're just going to follow suit, and you get the best movie possible, which is what pleases everybody at the end of the day.
Nice.
If you because it's really, again, for me, and I've had some recent revelations about my own like filmmaking thing, is like I don't really care about success anymore.
Yeah.
Like I care more about
becoming like a big famous director. And all
right.
that.
I care
Yeah.
more about being on set and practicing the craft.
Yeah.
And getting that right. And it doesn't matter.
Yeah. And being willing to fail too.
Yeah.
Like
You
I
have
feel
to.
like that's a really big thing. I mean, with anything, you've got to be willing to fail and screw up.
Yeah, it's never. We all come up with this thing in our head, this picture of image, what this scene's going to be and what that shot's going to be. It's not going to match. So accept that right away.
Yeah.
And in so doing, that's serving the movie and letting go of the result and just practicing the craft.
Yeah. So this will be the last question, and then we might have some time for a game. I know you've got to go.
Yeah, I was just say I don't know.
Our game master has to
go.
leave.
Sorry.
But last thing, like to the aspiring filmmaker out there, what advice do you have to give to anybody that wants to be a director?
Watch movies. Watch a lot of movies, even bad movies. One of the
Write
most
off Netflix on your taxes.
There you go. Totally.
Yeah.
I mean, like
It's
one of the-
research.
one of the most inspiring things to me is to watch a bad movie and say, I could do better than that.
Right. So watch The Room.
Yeah, definitely watch The Room, and watch great movies and be like, wow, like I want to aspire to that. I want to do that someday. So I think, yeah, that's really important. Like watch movies and then just take note of what you like and don't like about them and figure out how to do it.
Yeah, and then make use of the director's commentaries if you've got a DVD of it. Another great, in very similar, Mystery Science Theater 3000
Yes.
is where I developed a big taste for, okay, what not to do. or what you can get away with being bad on purpose, which is always great. But my main piece of advice is stick to it, because it is tough. It is rough. There is no such thing as instant success. The instant successes that you see are very few and far between. There are thousands and thousands and thousands of more people doing this at various levels who are making a living, but it's not like Beverly Hills swimming pool stuff.
Right.
And getting back to talking about going on and taking the jobs so that you learn the positions on set. Take the jobs so you can survive. There's that aspect too,
because you do have to be able to pay your bills while you're still pursuing.
And
your
for
dream.
me, at least, I can't be successful surviving as a filmmaker doing the part-time job doing something else. It's just not. Everyone's built and wiredly differently. If you can do that, great. But I have to keep my schedule clear. And when I really started being able to support myself as a filmmaker is when I dropped taking jobs doing other things.
Yeah.
And that way, because the number of times I had to pass on a job because I had a shift schedule and I couldn't get rid of it. Well, guess what? What happens then is that person's not going to call you the next time you move down the list.
Yeah.
And so you have to be available. You have to make yourself available, and you have to basically, I guess, long story short, is fully commit to it. Because there is no straddling in this particular industry, because there's too many people who want to be in filmmaking because there's this magical allure to it, who will make that sacrifice. They will make themselves available, and they'll go to the top of the list, and you will start falling down.
Yeah.
Because I know that happened to me much earlier, back in the early part of my career, is that I definitely was doing the split thing, and eventually got to the point where the call stopped coming. Thankfully the film program at OCU started back up, and I was able to jump back in, grab my degree, and then get back to fully committed. And I've been basically doing it ever since.
Yep.
But it's going to be a struggle, and it's going to be tough. But go for it.
Brian?
I would say if you want to be a director and you haven't started directing, you need to get busy. You need to make your own way. Start directing today. Just don't wait for someone to ask you. Also, something else is try to insert yourself in places where content is being created. So what I did is I took a job at a church where I had to make videos every single week. I had to direct them, I had to write them, I had to produce them, I had to do everything. And they paid me to do that. They paid me to learn. Start a YouTube channel.
That's awesome.
Start a YouTube channel and commit to working every single week. Be an intern at a video production company. Just be somewhere where stuff is getting made every single week. And be on time, be polite, use your manners, and work really hard.
Yep. Boom. I love it. Well, I think we have enough time for one game. I know you got to go
Yeah, okay. Let's see. Which would you prefer to play, Interrogation or the deleted scenes?
Ooh, let's do. Oh man, I don't know.
Let's do Interrogation.
You guys want to do Interrogation?
Why not?
Which one requires less of me?
Either.
I don't think I've ever played this game, so I don't know.
Okay, so if we're doing Interrogation, the way it works is we're going to have a crime that they wrote down for us, suggestion of a crime that was committed, a silly crime.
Or what we think is a crime.
What we think is a crime. We don't know what it is, but we're going to interrogate the person like we do until we find out what they did.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah.
Or if we want to play directed or deleted scene, it's a scene from a movie. I also had them write them down. So it's a scene that they wished was in the movie, whatever famous movie that they chose.
Boom.
That wasn't. So there you go.
So what do you guys think?
Either one, you can not participate if that's your choice, or you can. There you
Interrogation or deleted scene? Deleted scene will do.
Yeah.
Interrogation will do the interrogating,
will do, but
and you
someone
basically
has
just have to
to-
tell us if we're
You draw the
warm or
the crime.
cold.
Yeah.
I'm really fine with either one.
We're great. We're directors. We make decisions.
Yeah.
I would like to see you do my scene, but I would also like to participate in an interrogation.
Let's do interrogation.
Okay,
All
let's do interrogation.
So,
Okay.
here, why don't we draw yourself a crime? And you're gonna.
If we draw
So
our
I
own.
might draw someone else.
You might draw someone else's. You might draw your own.
Okay.
Either way, it doesn't matter because we don't know what they are.
I'm trying to think of like how we can fill the space of dead air while they're deciding
So-
on their crimes.
I can try. I can try this.
Okay.
Okay.
Hey, that's the first thing to do in improv. Is
Right,
just
yeah.
try. Just say yes. Okay.
I think Pat would be much better at this interrogation. I think you would be amazing at this.
Okay, all right. There you go. That's
saying.
all it took.
That
Okay.
might have been yours.
It is mine.
And
right, how
here's the
perfect.
why, because I'm very unfamiliar with all the.
Right. Okay. I think
this.
you two should ask Jacob. Like you two should interrogate Jacob.
Oh man.
That's how I think this will work.
Someone make an executive
I was
decision
saying,
here.
But Jacob said he didn't want to do it. So it's shooting.
Knock the microphone around.
With this one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Okay.
No, you don't. How does this work?
We're blind to the crime.
They don't
you
know what
the
the crime
Yeah,
is.
yeah, yeah.
They don't
So
know what
we're
the crime is.
interrogating you about a
Well, why don't
crime.
we be a team?
You're gonna slowly. Okay, yeah.
Okay,
team.
okay,
Put it
yeah,
up.
there we
All
go.
right.
I love this.
All right.
So this is interrogation, and again, listeners, disclaimer:
Okay.
the bar for
figured out
quality
what the game
improv
is.
is very
Okay.
low because we haven't even warmed up
Yeah.
or anything. So
I have a lot
you
of ignorance in that specific
Okay,
area.
yeah.
So, yeah.
All right, listen up here.
Yeah,
This is my partner, Officer Day.
I'm Day.
My name is Officer Biaz. That's right. Now, we know
Biaz. That's her.
Biaz. We know what you did, but really, we need you to write down on that paper right here why you did it. All right? So,
Why'd you do it, you sick people? I'm trying not to cuss right now because we're trying to be censored for the audience. Why'd you do it? Why?
we're starting with you, Frank. You're the one I saw first.
Well, I had a really good new way of making antimatter, so
Of course, you and your antimatter, you had a good way. You had a good method. One you probably worked on for a real long time, I'm sure. Antimatter. Anti-you.
well, it was like a week. But you know,
Just because you're some scientist doesn't mean you can commit this kind of a crime. You don't have the right.
well, Starfleet doesn't like pay money because there's no like money in it. So, kind of had to do what I kind of did.
Well, now that Frank's spilling, how about you, Josh? Tell us, Joshua.
Josh?
He does
Joshua
look like a Josh.
Francis. I know
How
your
did you
middle
know my
name,
name?
Joshua Francis. You tell us how you got looped into this. Are you in on it? Or were you just pulled on in innocently from his coaxing fingers? Huh?
Well, I was hanging out in the neutral zone and just kind of got wrapped up in it.
Neutral zone. What makes a man go neutral is what I want to know.
Lust for power.
I was going to say gold. So you were hanging out in the neutral zone with your antimatter machine. Okay.
Look, the campaign contacted me. I did not contact the campaign. Okay.
So you're nonpartisan in this. You weren't actively trying to commit a crime.
No.
They just convinced you. Did they come to you with money? Is there money involved? Is it my money?
It's the taxpayers' money.
So you are committing a crime against humanity.
In general, yeah, I guess.
I'm gonna go get a cup of coffee from me and my partner here, and I'm gonna think over this for a second. And who knows, I might spit it in your face if you don't get it together. You and your antimatter and your neutral zone.
We need
like
details.
Starfleet even cares.
So now the day's gone. It's just you and me, buddy boys. And I know not much about this crime, but I understand that it's illegal. And I also understand that my phone is telling me it is time. to lay down the law.
Are you Khan?
Way off. No.
Dave! Damn it! Dave! You're leading the witness! Or the criminal. Wait, we can do that in here, right? Turn the cameras off. Turn the cameras off.
I'm going to turn these cameras off.
All right. Guys, come on. The boss is breathing down my neck. I just need you to tell me
Throw me a bone
the
here.
details of why you did it. Who died.
Throw us just... Let me level with you. We're really bad detectives. And we really need a promotion.
It's true.
So, Starfleet and antimatter in the neutral zone. I'm lost as crap, okay?
You forgot about the campaign.
Campaign.
I don't play D&D.
For president of the Federation.
Oh. Yes.
This goes all
This goes all the way up to the president.
top. Yeah.
Oh, I think we're in it over our heads
think
here.
we are. All right, you know what?
There was a quid pro
Lucky
quo
for you.
that involved a batleth. And maybe Worf was involved. Who knows?
All I know is that it's probably from Star Trek Generations, and I can't think of what it's called.
Did you get Worf to steal something for you?
He had some damaging information about the president, the rival president. Yeah. And it came from the Klingon High Command.
Hello, I'm the commissioner.
Oh, hey, boss. We're working them real good over here. Real hard, real good.
Yeah, well, I just wanted you to know that you all passed this test. No, you didn't pass this test at all. Lights up, everybody. Okay, obviously our two actors are far too good for you two. I'm sorry, I was trying my best. My accent changed all of a sudden.
So did mine. But I still gave it my all.
But
I have no idea what they did.
So really, at the end of the day, I think I think we need to reevaluate you two and send you back through school. But I think it's important for the crime to be acknowledged by our two actors. You know what? Tell our two detectives what you're all about.
Well, you guys aren't going to take a guess?
I honestly messed up the papers, and I can't remember which one I gave you.
Collusion with the Klingons.
Collusion with the Klingons.
Obviously. You guys are the worst detectives ever. Click, clack, click, clack. Well, crap. We're really bad at this.
We're never going to pass that
Think of a
detective
Klingon
exam.
name for Trump. That was my problem.
Ding. That was wow. We suck so bad.
And aren't the Klingons supposed to be representative of the Soviets?
Correct.
See, this is such a timely.
Well, I was thinking, okay, is it Futurama? Is it Star Trek? Is it Rick and Morty? Antimatter threw me off. I was like, crap. What's that?
Very much Star Trek. Although Brian is wearing a Star Wars 77 shirt, so
That's true.
I guess, yeah. Maybe I've written collusion with the Empire. We would have worked out.
Yeah.
Dope.
Next time.
Also,
Well done.
Well, I know Kelly has to go, so we're gonna everybody bid her. Well, you probably.
Bye, Kelly.
I was just going to say some of the other crimes here. I just want to throw them out there because they're great. Stole snake from the zoo.
That was fine.
Stealing teeth.
Children's teeth.
That's a Civil War battle cry.
Stealing teeth.
Oh, geez, stole my tooth.
Unlicensed dentistry. A lot of things about teeth.
What's the deal with the teeth?
But now I'm going to have nightmares about that tooth fairy that goes and steals kids' teeth.
Don't watch.
Del Toro movie.
I still would also love to see
freaking hate
my
that movie.
deleted scene, which was...
Yes, I know. I was going to say, you guys can save the deleted scenes for maybe a deleted podcast, maybe a special podcast
that'll be a special
show.
edition.
Yeah.
We'll have you guys back and do a
All right.
special deleted scene of the deleted scene
That's right.
stuff.
But thank you guys. I'm going to say thank you. You guys finish up here. Thank you guys so much. It was so much
PC
fun learning
for
from
cheesy.
you. I'm going to direct my first something
Boom.
tonight
Do it.
at
Do
home.
it.
It's a child movie of my kids.
Boom. And Kelly's running super late, and it's my fault.
No,
so,
skit. Got to go to a children's choir church.
oh man! All right, and Kelly's got to go. So, you guys, where can we find y'all online for all the listeners to find you?
www.patrickkirk.com.
And
Twitter and Instagram should now be at director at OKC.
Boom. Jacob, where can we find you? Like 1,000 places.
Yeah, there's a million places. We'll say you can find my production company, Planet Thunder Productions, at planetthunderfilms.com. There's also an electricnostalgiafilm.com. And then on Twitter and Instagram, it should be at boomdigadown for both of them.
I love your handle.
I've always wanted to know how to correctly pronounce
Boom
that.
digga down.
Boom digga down.
Boom digga down.
It's like you're dropping a beat.
And I actually let my domain expire because I don't care. And so...
That's a level of security we all wish we had.
Yeah, so you can see all of our work at skitguys.com.
Sweet. And also Behold Motion Pictures.
Yeah, that's really just for tax purposes. So IRS, if you're listening,
Hey man, it's real.
these are not the taxes you're looking for.
The struggle is real. And of course, for all of you listeners, you can find the Okie Show at Okie Show on Twitter and Instagram. Be sure to tell your friends to subscribe and share these podcasts from iTunes Podcasts. Look us up on Facebook at Okie Show, and that's pretty much it. We're going to see you guys in the next 2 weeks. Thanks for coming on the show, guys. And normally I'd have a bell to ding right now, but
Ding.
bye.